My wife, Erin, and I have been married for 7 years. We met in college. She was loud, confident, the kind of woman who walked into a room and immediately made it hers. I was the quiet one, the listener. Everyone used to say we balanced each other out. Maybe we did. For a while. We bought a house, got a dog, built what looked like a solid life. The first few years were great. Spontaneous road trips, lazy Sunday mornings, laughing at stupid TikToks together. She used to call me her safe place. I remember that phrase vividly because it stuck with me. The idea that I was her calm in the chaos. But about a year ago, I started noticing subtle things. She began spending more time at work. She's a marketing manager for a startup. So late meetings weren't unusual, but the frequency went from once a week to almost every other night. Then came the phone thing. She used to leave it on the kitchen counter, face up, notifications pinging all day. Now, always face down, on silent, and apparently surgically attached to her hand. At first, I brushed it off. Told myself I was being paranoid, that she was just stressed with deadlines or client pressure. But deep down, that little gut feeling, the one you can't rationalize away, started gnawing at me. Then there were the mood swings. Some days she'd be all over me, acting like her usual flirty, teasing self. Other days she'd snap over nothing, like I was personally responsible for every minor inconvenience in her day. Once, she got furious because I didn't, quote, fold the towels the right way. I know that sounds trivial, but it was one of those moments where I remember thinking, this isn't about towels. The weirdest part, she started dressing differently. New lingerie, new perfume, stuff she never worn for me. And when I compliment her, she'd just say, "Oh, I'm just trying to feel good about myself again." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something was off. Still, I didn't have proof. Just suspicions and the growing pit in my stomach that wouldn't go away. I told myself I'd never be that guy who snoops through his wife's stuff. But that conviction was about to be tested. And when it broke, everything else did too. It happened on a random Thursday night. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. Just one of those evenings where the universe decides you've been too comfortable for too long. Erin said she was going out with her coworker Lena for a quick dinner to talk about a client pitch. Totally believable. I even encouraged it. I was in my sweatpants, halfway through a beer, planning to watch some mindless Netflix. Around 9:45 p.m., I texted her, "Everything okay? You on your way home?" No response. By 11, I started getting uneasy. She usually at least sent a quick, "Be home soon." I called her. It rang twice, then went to voicemail. At 11:30, she finally texted back, "Sorry, babe. Lena and I ended up talking about life and stuff. Heading home now." Cool. Except 30 minutes later, she still wasn't home. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Our dog, Cooper, needed to go out, and I grabbed my jacket and keys. As I was walking to the door, I realized Erin had left her iPad on the couch. She used it mainly for Pinterest and watching YouTube, harmless stuff. But I noticed a message preview on the screen from someone named T that said, "Can't wait for last night again. You looked insane in that dress." My heart actually stopped. You know that feeling when adrenaline hits you like a wave? Everything slows down and sharpens at the same time? I shouldn't have opened it. I know that, but I did. I unlocked the iPad, same passcode as always, and there it was, a whole thread of messages. Flirty, explicit, detailed. She'd been seeing a guy named Tom, apparently someone from her office. The earliest messages went back months. They weren't just hooking up. They were talking about feelings, about how he understood her better than anyone else ever had. And then I saw photos. ones she'd taken in our bedroom, wearing the same lingerie she told me she bought to feel confident again. My chest felt like it was collapsing. I remember pacing around the living room, shaking so badly I had to sit down. Every line of those messages felt like a knife twist. All the inside jokes, the sweet words she used to say to me, now recycled for someone else. Around midnight, I heard her car pull into the driveway. I panicked, closed the iPad, shoved it under a cushion, sat there pretending to scroll my phone. When she walked in, she looked too normal. Hair tousled, that fake casual tone in her voice. "Hey babe, sorry, Lena wouldn't stop talking." She kissed me on the cheek. I could still smell cologne on her. Not perfume, cologne. That was the moment I knew for sure. Everything inside me went cold. But I didn't say a word. Not yet. Because if I was going to confront her, I wanted every piece of truth nailed down. No denials, no "you're imagining things." And the next day, I got it. The next morning felt surreal. Erin was humming in the kitchen, making coffee like nothing happened, like she hadn't just ripped our marriage apart in secret. I sat at the table watching her, trying to hold myself together while my mind replayed every message, every photo. She asked me, all sweet and casual, "You okay? You look tired." Yeah, tired of being lied to, but I just said I didn't sleep well. Inside, I was on fire, half heartbreak, half rage. I went through the day like a ghost, couldn't focus at work, kept checking my phone, rereading what I'd seen. Around lunchtime, I made a decision. I was done pretending. That night, she came home later than usual again. Said she had to wrap up reports. I waited until she changed into her pajamas and climbed into bed with her phone still in her hand. "Can I see your phone for a sec?" I asked, trying to sound calm. She froze. Just a split second, but enough. Then came the smirk. "Why?" she said, half laughing. "You don't trust me now." I looked her straight in the eye. "I just want to see it." She crossed her arms. "You're acting insane. What's this about?" And that's when I pulled the iPad out from under the bed. I'd left it there earlier. Her face drained of color immediately. Just like that, all her fake confidence melted away. I opened it to the chat, T front and center. "You want to tell me who Tom is?" For a second, she said nothing. Then, and I swear I'll never forget this, she laughed. A small, bitter laugh. "Oh my God, you went through my messages? That's such a violation of privacy." That was her defense. Privacy. Not the cheating, not the lying. Me invading her privacy. I lost it. I wasn't yelling, not yet, but my voice shook. I asked how long it had been going on, if it was just physical, why she did it. She rolled her eyes. "It's not what you think." Not what I think? She was literally sending half-naked photos from our bed to another guy. Finally, when she realized I wasn't buying it, she switched tactics. Started crying, said I'd been distant, that I didn't make her feel wanted anymore, that he just listened to her. It was like watching someone try every card in the deck. Denial, anger, guilt-tripping, pity. I told her I'd seen the messages where she said she loved him. She went quiet, then whispered, "I didn't mean it." That hit me harder than I expected, because it meant she'd actually said it. We talked, or rather argued, until 3 a.m. I wanted answers. She wanted out of the spotlight. By the end, she said she needed space and went to sleep in the guest room. I sat awake all night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every lie. I didn't cry then. I was too numb for that. But the next day, when I found out just how deep her betrayal went, that's when the numbness broke. The morning after the confrontation, Erin acted like we'd just had a little argument. She came into the kitchen wearing her robe, scrolling her phone, and said, "Can we not be weird about this? I said I was sorry." Sorry. That's what she called it, sorry. like she'd spilt a drink on the couch, not blown up our marriage. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Every time I looked at her, all I could see were those messages. The way she called him baby, the photos, the "I miss you already" texts she sent while sitting next to me on the couch. When she realized I wasn't going to play along, she got defensive again. "You're overreacting. People make mistakes. It's not like I moved in with him." That line, I swear, it was like gasoline on a fire. I told her to pack a bag and go stay with a friend for a few days. She tried to argue, saying, "This is my house too," but I wasn't in the mood to negotiate with someone who had no respect left for me. Eventually, she stormed off, slamming the door so hard the picture frames rattled. The second she left, I broke down. Not the angry kind of crying, the hollow, ugly kind that comes from somewhere deep. I sat on the floor next to Cooper, our dog, who didn't understand any of it, and just fell apart. That weekend, I started going through things. Bank statements, text logs, emails. I didn't want to, but I had to know how far it went. And that's when I found hotel charges. Same dates as her work trips. Always the same place. A boutique hotel downtown. One of them was just 2 weeks before our anniversary. That one gutted me. While I was planning a surprise dinner for us, she was in some hotel room with him. I called her, told her I knew. She didn't even try to deny this time, just sighed and said, "I didn't plan for this to happen, okay? I needed something different." Something different. As if loyalty and honesty were old furniture she got bored of. I told her I wanted a separation. Her first reaction? "Are you seriously going to throw everything away over one mistake?" That word again, mistake. Like this was an accident. Like she tripped and fell into another man's bed. She hung up on me after I said I'd be contacting a lawyer. 10 minutes later, she sent a wall of texts, half apologies, half blame. "I love you, but I'm not happy. You don't understand how lonely I've been. You'll regret walking away." I didn't answer any of them. For the first time in years, the house was quiet. No background noise, no perfume in the air, no fake smiles, just silence. And in that silence, something strange happened. I started feeling relief. Because as much as it hurt, I finally knew the truth. But the emotional crash that came after, that was a whole new kind of pain. The relief didn't last long. After the shock wore off, the real pain hit. Hard. The first few days alone felt like living in a parallel universe. I'd wake up and instinctively reach for her side of the bed, only to find cold sheets. Her mug was still in the cabinet, her jacket still hanging by the door. Every trace of her existence became a punch to the gut. I'd go from anger to heartbreak in seconds. One minute I'd be cursing her name, the next I'd catch myself scrolling through old photos, wondering how the hell we got here. My friends try to be supportive. "You're better off without her. She doesn't deserve you. Go to the gym, man. You'll feel better." But grief doesn't care about logic. You can't just bench press betrayal out of your system. What really messed with me were the dreams. Every night I'd see her laughing, reaching out, whispering, "It wasn't real. I still love you." Then I'd wake up to the emptiness again. It's cruel how your brain weaponizes memories when you're broken. One night, about a week after she left, she called me, drunk. "I miss you," she slurred. "You're overreacting. We can fix this." I stayed quiet. She kept going. "He doesn't even mean anything. I don't know why I did it." That line, "He doesn't mean anything?" Then why ruin everything for him? Why lie, sneak, gaslight, cheat? She started crying, said she'd come by the next day to talk things through. Against my better judgment, I said, fine. Maybe part of me still wanted to understand. The next morning, she showed up. Sunglasses, coffee in hand, acting like she was visiting an old friend. She sat down at the table and immediately went into victim mode.
"You have no idea how hard it's been for me too," she said, tearing up. "Everyone thinks I'm a monster." I told her calmly that she wasn't a monster, just someone who made a series of choices that destroyed what we had. She got angry again. "Oh, so you're perfect? You never did anything wrong? Maybe if you paid more attention, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." There it was. The dagger, the twist, the ultimate blame shift. I didn't yell, didn't argue. I just said, "You didn't have to do anything. You chose to." That's when she went quiet. For the first time, I think she realized there was no saving it. She left without saying goodbye. That night, I finally let myself cry. The full, body shaking kind. The kind where you don't even sound human anymore. It wasn't just about losing her, it was about losing the version of me that believed in us. But in the middle of that breakdown, something in me shifted. I realized that maybe this pain, as brutal as it was also the start of something else. I didn't know it yet, but the road to letting go had just begun.
After that breakdown, something inside me clicked. I woke up the next morning feeling not okay, but clear. Like my brain had finally accepted what my heart refused to believe. Erin wasn't the woman I married anymore. Maybe she hadn't been for a long time. I started small, cleaning the house, boxing up her things, her favorite mug, her sweaters, even the stupid live, laugh, love sign she insisted on hanging in the hallway. Every item felt like cutting another thread that kept me tied to her. When I got to her side of the closet, I hesitated. Half her clothes still smelled like her perfume, that floral one she bought right around the time she started seeing him. I almost broke again, but instead I stuffed everything into bags and dropped them off at her sister's place. Her sister didn't know all the details, but when she saw my face, she didn't ask. She just nodded and said, quietly, "You deserve better." That was the first time I'd heard someone say it without pity. I started going on long walks with Cooper every evening. No phone, no music, just silence in my thoughts. It hurt at first, but it became something I looked forward to, a kind of therapy. The noise in my head slowly started to quiet down. About 2 weeks later, Erin texted again. "Can we meet for coffee? Just to talk." I thought about it for a while. Part of me still wanted closure. The other part knew closure from a liar is just another lie. Still, I agreed. We met at a cafe we used to go to all the time. She showed up looking flawless, like she'd spent an hour making sure she didn't look like a woman who destroyed her marriage. She started off calm, almost businesslike. "I've been seeing a therapist," she said. "I know I hurt you, and I'm working on understanding why I did what I did." I wanted to believe her, but I'd seen that performance before. Then came the pitch. "I think we could try counseling, maybe start over. We've been through so much, it can't just end like this." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing. No hate, no longing, no hope. Just emptiness. "It already ended," I said. "You just didn't notice when it did." She blinked, stunned, like she expected me to cave. Then she got defensive again. "So that's it? You're just done?" I nodded. "Yeah, I'm done being someone's backup plan." She left without finishing her coffee. And for the first time since it all started, I didn't feel broken. I felt free. That night, I deleted all our photos from my phone. The texts, the emails, the what ifs, gone. I slept better than I had in months. It wasn't closure she gave me. It was me finally taking it for myself.
After that final meeting, it was like the world started to thaw. Things didn't suddenly become easy. The mornings were still heavy, the nights still quiet, but the pain started turning into something else, perspective. I threw myself into fixing everything I'd let slide during the chaos. The yard, the leaky faucet, even my health. I quit the junk food, started running again, not out of some revenge body nonsense, but because I finally wanted to feel alive again. For me, not for her. I also started journaling. At first, it was just anger, page after page of words I'd never say out loud. But over time, those pages shifted from rage to reflection. I wrote about the moments I ignored the red flags, how I'd let myself believe comfort meant connection. I reconnected with friends I drifted from too. Guys I hadn't seen in years started showing up for me. One of them, Jake, went through something similar a few years back, and he told me something that stuck. You don't heal when you forgive her, you heal when you stop needing to understand why. That line became my mantra. I stopped digging for answers that would never make sense. Meanwhile, Erin kept trying to reach out. Texts like, "Hope you're doing okay," or "Cooper misses me." I ignored them all. Not out of spite, but because I was done letting her reopen wounds she created. A few months passed. I got promoted at work, started volunteering on weekends, even took a short trip alone, something I never thought I'd do. There was something oddly powerful about sitting on a beach by myself, watching the sunset, realizing that solitude isn't the same as loneliness. One night, I came home, poured a drink, and looked around the house. It finally felt like mine again. No ghosts, no tension, no half-truths floating in the air. I realized I wasn't just rebuilding my life, I was rebuilding myself. I wasn't the same guy who begged for answers or blamed himself for someone else's betrayal. I was calmer, tougher, and more grounded. That was the first time in months I looked in the mirror and actually recognized the man staring back. And right then, I knew I was ready to let go completely.
It's been about a year now since everything fell apart. Or maybe I should say, since everything finally came to light. If you'd told me back then that I'd be okay, I would have laughed in your face. Because when you're in it, when the person you trusted most betrays you, it feels like your entire world's been reduced to ash. But here I am. Not perfect, not unscarred, just real. Looking back, I can see all the warning signs I ignored. The dismissive attitude, the late nights, the shifting blame. But the truth is, when you love someone, you don't look for reasons to doubt them. You look for reasons not to. That's how people like Erin get away with it for so long. They count on your loyalty becoming your blindness. There were days I hated her. Days I missed her. Sometimes both at once. But now, I don't feel much of anything. She's just a chapter I finished. A painful one, sure, but one that taught me more than any happily ever after ever could. Here's what I've learned. For anyone who might be reading this, going through something similar. If something feels off, trust your gut. That instinct isn't paranoia. It's your heart noticing what your mind refuses to see. Don't beg for honesty from a liar. Once someone shows you who they are, believe it. Closure doesn't come from them. It comes when you finally accept that the apology you deserve may never come, and that's okay. You'll survive, even when it feels like you won't. These days, I've got peace. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind that settles in slowly and stays. I take Cooper on walks, cook my own dinners, sleep without checking if she's home, and every once in a while, I even catch myself smiling for no reason at all. I still believe in love, just not the kind that demands you lose yourself to keep it. If you're reading this and you're where I was a year ago, broken, angry, confused, just know this. It won't always hurt like this. One day you'll wake up, and the first thing you'll feel won't be pain. It'll be peace. And when that day comes, you'll realize you didn't lose them, you found you.